Chapter 51. You cook this for my health? Without the slightest hesitation, she nodded. Okay, then what do you want to eat? What about you? Is there any restaurant that you'd especially like to go to? I rarely go to restaurants. I usually cook at home. William Walton raised his eyebrows. You know how to cook? Yes, she said. William Walton smirked. Then go buy some ingredients. Tonight I'll come to your place to eat. Laura worried, she replied. But the dishes that I've cooked might not be suitable for your appetite. How do you know before you have tried? I still have a meeting to attend, so I'll hang up first. Hanging up, Laura let out a breath. Please drop me off at the market. In the afternoon, she busied herself around the kitchen. William Walton arrived at 5 o'clock. She opened the door for him, and he sniffed at the aroma. What did you prepare? Smells so good. She pursed her lips. I cooked chicken soup. It will be good for your health. William Walton unconsciously curled his lips. You cooked the soup for me? Good girl. She blushed slightly. Go wash your hands. I'll set the table. She went back to the kitchen dejectedly. William Walton came out of the bathroom and sat down at the dining table. He had never seen so many normal dishes at the table. Pasta, home-made salad, rump steak, pudding, and chicken soup. She gave him a bowl of soup and put it in front of him. Just as she was about to sit down, William Walton looked at her. I want some wine. She awkwardly asked, What do you want to drink? Should I buy it? He twisted his head and smiled. Forget it. Remember to prepare the wine next time. She sat down. He still wanted to come here a second time? William Walton picked up the forks and nibbled on each of them, tasting each of the dishes. He nodded. Yes, your culinary skills are pretty good. I thought it might not meet your appetite. After all, she remembered the last time he'd drunk instant coffee. I was a bit worried at first, but now, I'm not worried anymore. Your dishes look the same as the ones in the restaurant. No, it's even more delicious. Are you sure you made this yourself? It can't be that you went out to buy it for my sake, right? She laughed. Not. He was getting more and more satisfied with this woman. You might want to move here and live with her. He leisurely took a sip of the soup and said, All right, I'll give you 100 points for this. With your culinary skills, you can get married now. She rolled her eyes at him. William Walton laughed. She probably the only one in this world who dared to roll her eyes in front of him. He did not get angry at all. Why did you change your mind? She put down her spoon. Because I don't want to be overwhelmed. Is there something which happened and made you change your mind? You didn't change your mind when I came to see you this afternoon. Elsie Clark is pregnant, but today, to set me up, she took advantage of that child. And that child, dead. She got up and went to her bag and took out her recorder and played it to him. He shook his head with a smile and asked, If nothing happens to this woman today, what are you going to do about it? She scratched her forehead. Originally, I planned to get back together with Avery Harris again and make his mother and Elsie Clark angry. His eyes widened. Get back together? Pretend to. He was annoyed. Childish, stupid. Hearing him say so, she lowered her head and giggled. Why did you laugh? Do you think it's funny? I'm laughing because your comment was so accurate. She looked down at him and smiled shyly as she scooped up the soup with her spoon. He looked at her and smiled at her too. Their gazes met, and a warm feeling inexplicably ran through her heart. William Walton looked at her smile and couldn't help but curl his lips. There's a problem. I'm rather curious. You kept repeating that you would never interact with rich people. So why are you with Avery Harris now? It's impossible for you not to know who he is when you're dating him. I know. The warm chopsticks lightly poked at the food in the bowl. From the day he entered the school, I knew that he was the son of the principal, which was why I rejected him for 3 years. Oh? Then why did you accept him? Since I was young, no one has ever treated me so well. My heart was also not made of steel, so I was moved. At that time, I thought that he was different. In the end, it turned out that he was no different from you. After he got you, he no longer knew how to cherish you, right? She shook her head. Actually, in this past year, he has always been very good to me. He's so good that I wonder if my life will become blissful because of him. But, she exhaled, this is probably the habit of rich men. Seeing her disappointed eyes, William Walton suddenly felt that his mood was not bad. If it wasn't for that idiot who didn't know how to cherish her, he wouldn't have had the chance to take her to bed and be her first man. The first one? He raised his eyebrows and looked at her. He was not satisfied with only being the first. He wanted to be her only man. Not all rich men are like Avery Harris. Are you trying to say that you are different from him? Indeed. William Walton, I am someone who knows your little secret, and you still dare to say that you are special? Oh? My little secret? He didn't know what was his little secret. Carol, right, she calmly looked at him. You already have someone you like, but you're still sleeping with another woman. This kind of behavior is bad, don't you know? William Walton looked at her. Then, do you not know that she is married and she is my sister-in-law? Thinking this way, she asked in a gentle and curious tone. So you loved her, but she didn't love you back? Or is it, when you met her, she was Jack's girlfriend? William Walton stared at her face, his expression gloomy. Are you curious about my matter? She blushed. No, you were the one who asked me why I was with Avery Harris before. I think, as an exchange, you should also tell me why you liked Carol Wright. William Walton said indifferently, if you feel that you must ask some question to exchange with mine, then let me ask you another question. This was obvious. He wouldn't tell her. She shook her head. There's no need for that. I'm not that curious. After she finished speaking, she lowered her head and started to eat in silence. William Walton looked at her for a while, then suddenly said, I got to know her first. After a moment of surprise, Laura looked at him and asked, Huh? I got to know Carol first. After he finished speaking, he picked up the fork again and lowered his head to pick up the dishes. Seeing her at a loss, he actually couldn't bear it. He was manipulated by her. This was really, damn it. Oh, she looked at him, and only after a long while she responded. Well, he meant that his brother had taken the woman he liked. What big news. He didn't seem like someone who would surrender his woman to someone else. Wait a minute, didn't he want to answer at first? Why? Finally told her? He was weird. Chapter 52. William Walton, thank you. On the morning of the second day, she was awoken by Judy Allen's phone ringing. She lazily picked it up, but Judy Allen's surprised exclamation came through the other side of the phone. What's going on? Lady, heavenly thunder is rolling. I was frightened. What's wrong? She yawned, rubbed her eyes, and looked at the clock on the wall. Last night, after William Walton went, she had purposely turned off the alarm, hoping to indulge herself in sleep until she woke up naturally. But it was only 8:30. This girl, she never gets out of bed until 10 o'clock if she has nothing to do. Did the sun rise from the west today? Oh my God. Elsie's qualification has been cancelled. The official explanation given by the school is that the wrong name was stuck there, but who would believe it? This is the first time such a big bug appeared in our university. Damn it, I'm so happy. She knew that it wasn't because of the god, it because of William Walton. Is that true? Is that true? That's your reaction? You're not happy at all? So calm? Damn it, I know you have a good mentality, but you don't need to be so indifferent, right? Are you forcing me to regard you as a fairy? She sat up and pushed her hair, which was still in a mess, with her right hand. She smiled. That's because I have been tortured too many times. Ch-ch, Judy Allen laughed. Tell me, where are you going to eat this afternoon? Didn't you want to treat me to a meal? Since such a happy thing has happened, I will satisfy you. With a warm smile, she said, you can order whatever you want. It doesn't matter if it's expensive. Are you serious? You're rich? I've been nagging at you for the past 4 years. My conscience isn't peaceful. Besides, I have to treat you to such a happy matter. All right then, let's go eat today. Go to the burger shop at the school gate. With a warm smile, she said, Burger? You have no ambition. No matter. Satisfy me. All right, 10:30 a.m., gather at the school gate. Hanging up, she dialed William Walton's number and called him. William Walton's lazy voice came over the phone. Hello. It's me. I know. Are you busy? Not at all, said in thought for a moment. Since he answered like this, she should not be able to continue. Why you get up so early? Didn't you say last night that you would be sleeping until noon? When he said this, all of the executives in the meeting room were so shocked that their jaws dropped. Last night, many people could smell an ambiguous scent. Could it be that the CEO had fallen in love? Who would have thought that William Walton, who had just been in a rage, would be talking on his phone at this moment with such a gentle attitude? Who made their William Walton so gentle? They were very curious. Who exactly was her? They wanted to find her out and give her to William Walton so he could have a good mood every day. That was my original plan, but my roommate called me and woke me up. Then this dorm friend isn't that good. Of course not. She shared the good news with me. William Walton, the school has once again announced the information of me being retained as a teacher. I got my job back, thank you. William Walton smiled. I have said that many times. I do not accept thank you. I want something else rather than words. Do you want? William Walton got up from the chair and walked out of the conference room. For example, marry me? She blushed. If you continue to joke, I'm going to hang up. William Walton laughed. I'm not joking. I'm going to hang up. Then accompany me to lunch then. Not today at noon. I have an appointment with my classmate. At night, then evening. Tonight, I'm going to give a secondary school student a supplementary lesson. I will be working till 8 p.m. William Walton raised his eyebrows. Since you're so insincere, why are you saying that you want to thank me? How about tomorrow at noon? William Walton pursed his lips. Not bad, at least she wouldn't reject him. It seemed like this woman changed because she owed him. I have a meeting at noon. Let's meet in the evening. I'll tell you where to go. All right? Hanging up, she looked outside at the sunny weather and covered her mouth as she smiled. After she finished laughing, she slapped her face for some unknown reason. What a fool. Why was she so happy just because of the good weather? She was in a very good mood. She got off the bed, cleaned up her dirty clothes, and stuffed them into the washing machine. She washed up and left the room. She arrived at school on time. Judy Allen, who was used to being late, was late again. While she was waiting for her, 2 girls passed by her. One of them said, he helped me so much, so I should at least send him something to express my feelings. But I don't know what it's better to give to a guy as a present. The most suitable thing for him is to repay him with your body. God, you're so annoying. Can you be more serious now? Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Does he smoke? If he smokes, you can give him a limited edition lighter. If he doesn't smoke, buy a tie or a watch. The two girls walked away and she reached out her hands to cover her cheeks. Thanked him with her body. Hey, she exhaled, clearly feeling her face blush. Nearby, Judy Allen jogged over. I'm sorry. To avoid being outclassed by your beauty. I dressed for a bit, and in the end I arrived late, due to carelessness. You can't possibly blame me, right? Judy Allen accompanied with a smile, and winked at her. Hey, what's wrong with your face? It's so red. Sigh, the sun is so bright. I've been exposed to the sun for a long time. God, that's my fault. Now I will take you to a cooler place to take shelter from the summer. Your Majesty, let's go. She gently pulled her back. About that, I'm giving you a chance to make up your fault. Your Majesty, please tell me. Laura whispered something in her ear. Judy Allen exclaimed, What? What do you want to buy? Didn't you hear it all? You couldn't have gotten back together with that trash, Avery Harris, right? No, what are you thinking about? And why did you buy a gift for a man? If she had known earlier, she would have bought it by herself. How could she explain this? Judy Allen took her arm. Hurry up and tell me the truth. Be frank and lenient. Didn't I tell you before that I have a big brother? He did me a big favor, and I feel that I have to thank him properly. Judy Allen was speechless. Why should you be so courteous with your family members? After all, he's a half-brother, so I'll have to be a bit more polite. Sure, I'm good at buying gifts for men. Just follow me. I'll bring you to a good place and I'll guarantee that your bro will be satisfied with the presents you chose. Laura Green felt guilty and she followed her. Chapter 53, Powerful Background. Judy Allen pulled her into a taxi and they came to a handmade boutique in a small alley in the city center. Just as Judy Allen had said, they have everything that one expects to find. Most importantly, she could make handicrafts be herself if she wants. After the two of them bought their presents, they took a taxi back to the burger shop at the school gate. Judy Allen said that after returning to her hometown, she wouldn't be able to eat this juicy burger again. She was afraid that she would miss it, so for the next few days, she would have to come to this shop to eat. Although Laura felt that she was a bit exaggerated, she knew that Judy Allen could do this. Laura, I don't know when Kim will meet each other again after this time. She looked at Judy with sadness. If you miss me, then come back to see me. In any case, I will stay here and go nowhere. Of course, I'm afraid I won't last more than 2 months. Then I'll treat you to this restaurant when we meet again. When I went out this morning, another roommate returned to the dorm. She told me that Elsie Clark had been hospitalized due to an abortion. I think the principal canceled the decision because of this. She then took a sip of Coke. Judy, from now on, let's not discuss Elsie Clark and Avery Harris anymore, okay? Judy Allen sighed. You sure are heavily hurt by them. Would you be afraid of falling in love with others because of Avery Harris? Tell me what you wouldn't. You can't give up your happiness just because of a trash can. No, I will fall in love, find a man who loves me and get married. We will have 2 children. It would be best if it were a boy and a girl. I will be very happy about teaching students and take care of my husband and our children. Don't worry. Then promise me. Yes, I promise. She nodded and smiled at Judy Allen. Before the two of them could finish eating, an unexpected guest arrived at the restaurant. Judy, who was sitting opposite the door, saw the figure first and said unhappily, Trashman is here. She was about to turn around when a hand reached out from behind her and pulled her towards the door. Judy Allen stood up and shouted while chasing, Avery Harris, what are you doing? The 3 of them walked to the door. Avery Harris stood there and said to Judy Allen, Judy Allen, you'd better go. I have something to say. Who do you think you are? I'm not going in. Goff. Avery Harris said to her. Judy Allen was not convinced. Just as she was about to pounce, Laura Green turned around and blocked her. She did not want Judy Allen to suffer a loss. Judy, you go in first. No, I can't leave you alone here. It's all right. There are some things that he and I have to settle. This is school. It's very safe. Judy Allen gouged Avery Harris with her eyes, then turned and returned to the restaurant. She raised her head and looked at him with an indifferent expression. What do you want to say? I underestimated you. I was wondering before why you were so calm when you saw Clark and me in the hotel. You didn't cry or yell at me. What did he mean? Tell me, when did you get hooked up with that William Walton? You said before that you slept with someone else. You can't be lying to me, right? Is that man William Walton? I thought you were pure, but it turns out you're a fucking bitch. She raised her hand and slapped Avery Harris and ground her teeth. Have you said enough? He covered his face and glared at her. I only said a few words and you're already angry from embarrassment? You know, my mom told me today that you and him, do you know how I felt? I cherish you so much. I'm so good to you. Why are you together with him? She raised her chin with a face full of calmness. Avery Harris, we are done. Then it's none of your business who am I with or who did I sleep with. You have no sense of shame. You went to bed with my roommate because you knew too much about shame? Stop finding excuses. Today, explain to me when you hooked up with him. You can humiliate me, but please don't humiliate an innocent person. The grudge between you and I have nothing to do with William Walton. You still dare to say it doesn't matter? In the entire city, how many people dare to call his name like you? Do you think that William Walton is someone who likes to meddle in other people's business? There are so many people in the entire Philadelphia. Why you didn't care about them, but chose to meddle in your business? That's because that you fucking slept with him. Yes, Laura Green roared forcefully, interrupting him. I slept with him, so what? You can sleep with Elsie Clark. Why can't I sleep with William Walton? Let me tell you, the night I saw you and Elsie Clark in the hotel, I crawled onto William Walton's bed, and it was me who did it. Avery Harris raised his hand and wanted to slap her. She raised her chin high. Do it. Avery Harris gritted his teeth, with tears in his eyes. He slowly lowered his hands. Why did you do this to yourself? And why did you end up like this? I was wrong. But do you know what kind of person William Walton is? How could you dare to provoke him? Laura, have you thought about the consequences? He will destroy you. That's my business. You're still being stubborn. She looked at him warmly. Avery Harris, you know that I hate betrayal the most, yet you did this. Could it be that after you betrayed me, you still expect me to kneel in place and beg you to change your mind? I gave up everything to cut off all paths of the retreat so that I would never look back at you again. I become today's Laura because of you. Avery Harris closed her eyes. His face was filled with pain. At least, in terms of spirit, I have never betrayed you before. With a cold laugh, his spirit, I'm sorry, I don't need your mental purity. In the future, there will be nothing between us. Don't come looking for me. As for me, even if I'm torn apart and have to suffer for the rest of my life, I will not beg for your mercy. She said she was, and turned to come back to the restaurant. Seeing her determination, Avery Harris was truly going crazy. He shouted, Laura, have you ever loved me? Her gentle footsteps paused. No. Laura, you will regret this. I, Avery Harris, swear to the God, I will make you regret your own decision. I already regret thinking that you were different from others. If God could give me another chance, I would never forget my mother's order, and I would never accept you. I feel ashamed for that Laura who was with you and dreamed about marrying you and accompanying you until the end of my life. Chapter 54. Blush. Although she hadn't expected that they would end up like this, she felt that it no longer mattered. Since the day that she decided to let him go, she had never intended to turn back. Since she would never get back together with him, it didn't matter if he would trust her or not. On the afternoon of the second day, she followed the address that William Walton sent over, and went to that French restaurant by bus. When William Walton drove his car over, she was sitting right beside the entrance of the dining hall. He got out of the car and walked over to her. The waiter drove his car away to park it. Why aren't you going in? She laughed. I wanted to mourn my purse for a few minutes before I went in, but you came over. For the purse? She pointed to the door of the restaurant and mysteriously said, Let me calculate with my fingers. This restaurant should be a high-end restaurant. He smiled. So? To treat someone to a meal in a place like this, I would feel my heart ache. Then are you going to treat me? She shrugged her shoulders. After all, money is earned by humans. Since I owe you a favor, I naturally have to pay it. That's why I should mourn for my purse. Now, let's go. I'll send them to the guillotine. She took a deep breath, turned, and walked up the steps to the dining room. William Walton couldn't help but laugh as he looked her back. Was he old? Or there were too few women he knew. He had never seen a woman as interesting as her. As they entered the dining room, she glanced at the menu and gave him the right to order. Come on. Are you sure? You don't be afraid that I'll order something expensive. She curled her lips. I don't know how to read. If you feel that your conscience won't hurt, then you can just order whatever you want. In any case, at worst, I'll just stay here and wash the dishes to pay the bill. It doesn't matter. Her words were filled with bravery. He smiled and lowered his head to order. She couldn't understand why the menu would be in French, even though this was America. Why they had to bully the people who don't speak French? William Walton quickly ordered the dishes. Would you like a glass of champagne? She shrugged. Sure. The French food served slowly. She wasn't in a hurry. Taking a sip of champagne, she asked, What did you tell our principal? How did she change her mind so easily? Are you curious? A little, she nodded. Is it easy to convince her? I only said 3 sentences. I said I liked you, and you must get the job. Otherwise, the Walton family and the Harris family would have already broken up. She blushed. No wonder why Avery Harris came to find her yesterday. Why are you blushing? Hey, because of the wine. She lifted her glass and took another sip. The principal didn't say anything and just agreed? She said a lot of bad things about you. She frowned. What did she say? Curious again? She was a bit embarrassed. Not really. How about this? If you promise me one thing, I'll tell you what I talked about with her. I won't it. What? Are you afraid that I'll make you give your body to me? She looked at him. Was this man the legendary high and mighty William Walton? Why hadn't she met such a William Walton before? He saw that she was a bit nervous, so he smiled. It seems that you have an image that... I didn't. Don't worry, I won't force anyone to do something that she doesn't want to. I've said it before. You'll be willing to marry me and give me your body. Never. Let's skip this topic. Our company has been looking for a temporary lecturer. Do you want to do some part-time jobs? If you come, I'll tell you what she said. Sk. She twisted her head and smiled. What are you laughing about? Stop messing with me. How can I be the lecturer for such a big company like yours? Even if it's just temporary work, there should still be hundreds of people at the wait list. I will cover you. This is the first time I'm using the resource to gain personal benefits. The salary is very high and charged by the day. What do you think? She looked at him and said confidently, You must have other motives. He calmly swirled the wine cup and smiled. It's really easy talking to a smart person. If you come to our company, you have to bring me food every noon. Bring some food? She was surprised. That's right. You come here to work for a month and bring me a month's food. Or if you don't come, I'll come to your place every night to eat dinner. You choose one of these two offers. She said, Don't you feel that you're very manipulative? I'm used to it. If you feel that it's unfair, then I can give you another choice. If you come back to my house, I'll take care of everything. You can cook for me 3 times a week. She stared at him and crossed her arms. William Walton smiled charmingly. I know, you are afraid that I will pester you, but even if you do not come to our company, I will not give up. As for the reason, you should have guessed it yourself. I liked you. Laura creased her brows. She tightened her arms. This could be considered as confession. But having you cook for me has nothing to do with liking you. In the past 27 years, I have never eaten ordinary food. That day, the food you cooked made me feel as if I was living like an ordinary person. I truly feel that eating ordinary food at home is very good. Can you imagine? From the moment I was born, I sat at a very large dining table. Every meal was filled with delicacies, and there were a lot of servants and butlers by my side. Upon hearing his words, her pupils unconsciously constricted. She looked at him with a bit of heartache, feeling an inexplicable sense of pity for him. In the past, her mother had to go to work every day to support her. Therefore, she ate alone, bathed alone, and slept alone every day. The feeling of being alone, she understood. Then, when do I start working? It's best if you start tomorrow. She pursed her lips. Now you can tell me what the headmaster said about me. I know a little about Miss Brown. What she said, it's better if you don't know. They are all lies. How can you be sure it's a lie? She says that you don't care about your private life. But I know you well. He raised the center of his brows. I'm your first man. Embarrassed, she glanced to the side. Lower your voice. Sigh. Is that all she said? What can someone like her say? All she said was nothing but emphasizing your identity. She said I was an orphan again? What? She has mentioned it before? She nodded. How could she have such a misunderstanding? Have you never told Avery Harris your identity? I can't just say that I'm an illegitimate daughter, right? It's not a good thing. William Walton laughed. If Miss Brown knew that she was from Anderson family, her attitude towards her would change. If that, Avery Harris wouldn't have lost Laura Green. It seemed like a beautiful coincidence. Chapter 55. I want you. That's why I told Miss Brown that I didn't care about the background. In the future, I will be your background. I will protect you, and she'd better leave you in peace. Laura looked at him in surprise. Are you kidding me? If you don't believe it, you can ask her. Her face suddenly blushed for some reason. Heh, then she's probably pissed to death. That's not my responsibility. She looked at him. There's a question that I am particularly curious about. May I ask? Go ahead. You have so many women by your side. Why do you like me? Is it because I'm poor and different from the women around you? Or do you think I'm a misery and you do this out of sympathy? If it's true, then you might have misunderstood something. I'm not as miserable as you think. I just like money. I have 2 answers to that question. Which do you want to hear? Truth or lies? Then you can tell me both. They are both true, but there are 2 ways to say it. Saying it tactfully, it is that I talked a lot when I'm with you. I want to find a woman who can open my heart and chat with me. Saying it directly, I want to sleep with you. Cough, cough. She was startled by his straightforward reply and covered her mouth to stop herself from coughing. Do you love me then? William Walton looked at her. Right now, I admire you very much. However, there is still a small gap between love. I will pay my effort to fill the gap. Can you sleep with a woman even you don't like her? If it was another woman, it would be impossible. However, as I've said before, I had a crush on you, so I want to sleep with you. To me, your body is emitting a medicinal fragrance. Medicine fragrance? She wondered where she got the medicinal scent. Love potion. She coughed again. If this man wasn't good looking, she would have called the police. William Walton, I'll tell you clearly. I saw with my own eyes how my mother struggled her entire life, so I won't entrust my feelings to someone who doesn't love me. If possible, I hope that you can move your target away from me. I don't want to get hurt. William Walton looked at her, and then pursed his lips. If you don't try, how do you know that you will be hurt? Perhaps I am worthy of your trust for the rest of your life. But I'm not suitable for you. Nothing is absolute. However, she firmly believed that they were not suited. Instead, she took out a beautifully wrapped box from her bag, placed it on the table, and pushed it in front of him. What is this? He wondered. To show my gratitude, I bought a gift for you yesterday. I know that you are not lacking in anything, and perhaps you will think that it is cheap, not worthy of your taste, but I will buy it anyway because I want to let my heart be at ease. If you want to throw it away, can you find a place after you leave that I cannot see?" Hearing her words, William Walton raised his eyebrows. A gift? This was the first time in his life that he had received a gift from a woman. He wanted to open the box. Embarrassed, she stretched out her hand and pressed down on him. "Can't you go back and look at it?" William Walton raised his eyebrows. "So mysterious? I just don't want to see your look of disdain. I'll be ashamed." He opened it anyway, and there was a dark blue pen in the box. He took out the pen and saw that it was still engraved with words. He raised his eyebrows. "You carved these words?" "The sample of the character was written by me, but I was afraid that it wouldn't be good to carve it, so I let someone help me carve it." He stared at the tiny words on it. "William Walton, thank you." Seeing him size up the words, she said rather embarrassedly, "Isn't it a bit rustic?" He didn't say anything. He just stuffed the pen into his shirt pocket and asked, "How is it?" She pursed her lips into a smile. "I think it's pretty good, but from your taste, it's possible that's good," William Walton said as he raised his eyebrows. "I'll make good use of it." She was stunned for a moment. Did he accept the gift? It was odd, she thought. On the morning of the second day, she showed up at Walton Group on time. She had promised William Walton in advance they would pretend to not know each other in the company. Therefore, no one knew that she was under the cover of William Walton. She was like a new employee, busy with her studies. What she was going to do was explain the new products to the staff in the business section. The company recruited a total of 4 lecturers. Each person was responsible for one product. She had the responsibility to explain the upgraded second-generation air purifier. For the next week, she would do her homework and learn every detail, feature, and selling point of the product. At noon, she received a call from William Walton. "Have you gotten off work?" She looked outside from within tea house and carefully whispered, "Not yet." "Why aren't you getting off work? Everyone is doing their homework." "You don't need to do it. Come upstairs." "How can we do that? We'll be seen by others." "I'm hungry." She thought about it and said, "How about that? I'll put the lunchbox at the front desk. Can you let your secretary go down to pick it up?" "It's not like it's a special agent." "Then what do we do?" "I can't get away." "Then come find me after you're done. I'm the only one in the entire penthouse, don't worry." "But just now, our team leader said that he will take the 4 of us to eat lunch together." "I can't possibly say that I won't be able to do that on the first day." William Walton was unhappy. Who was that annoying? "Then come find me after you finish eating." "But it's settled then. Go back to your work." After he finished speaking, he hung up the phone. He picked up his internal network and called his secretary. "Daniel, investigate who is the one leading training department's impromptu lecturer and transfer him to another for a business trip." The secretary was stunned. "Right now?" "Right now, immediately, in 10 minutes. Get him out of the company." "All right." "After the call, you can get off work. Come back at 1:30. Hanging up, Daniel was puzzled. Since when did Mr. Walton start to care about the training department? How rare. Half an hour later, she stepped into the elevator. Reaching the 36th floor, she got off the elevator and carefully looked around. There was no one around. She walked along the long corridor until she finally saw the words CEO's office. She knocked on the door. "Come in." It was William Walton's voice. Letting out a breath of relief, she pushed open the door and entered. She looked at him and said, "You scared me." "What the hell?" "What? I'm afraid of being seen by others, so I'm a bit worried, okay? To not arouse suspicion, I pressed on the 35th floor first. Seeing that there's no one at the door, I came up. What if there's someone at the door? I just got off the elevator and said I walked in the wrong place. Seeing you like this, those who don't know might think that you're having a secret affair with me." As he spoke, he walked closer to her and leaned behind her. He said ambiguously, "Why don't I make this matter real?